Hi, welcome to Future Dragon Rocket. I am not Ryan Reynolds. We're back. We did it. We got more HBO shows. We got more HBO material. We got episode 1 of House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spinoff. Game of Thrones originally premiered, I think, in 2011, just to give you some context of how long it's been. And then the final episode aired in 2019, so it's been 3 years. And this was a really good start. I can't wait to see the rest of this season. I think I read maybe last year that they were planning on doing this show House of the Dragon for like 4 seasons, maybe, if it keeps getting picked up and renewed. But overall, great to see the dragons back on the screen. There's supposed to be 17 dragons overall in this series, maybe not in season 1, but we did see at least 2 living ones, and then we saw the skull of Balerion the Black Dread down like in the dungeons or basement of King's Landing, if you will, the biggest dragon that ever existed. Which apparently just maybe had recently died within the maybe the last king's lifetime, I guess. Really cool opening scene. We see Princess Rhaenyra flying on her dragon, which I think her dragon's name is Syrax or Syraxes. Really cool little dragon flying through the clouds scene to open the episode. We did get a little like kind of context across the screen about the Targaryen family briefly, and how it's like 172 or 173 years before like the Mad King and Daenerys Targaryen. He is pregnant. King Viserys is just sure that it's going to be a son, and that's where the whole, I guess, plot of episode 1 is based around, is like the king's heir who's going to inherit the Iron Throne once the king passes away. The queen's apparently already had 5 babies die, at least 3 miscarriages, but a total of like 5 babies die, besides the current princess who is living, who's like a preteen or teenager. We get introduced to the jackass or badass Daemon Targaryen, however you want to look at him, whatever your opinion is on him if you've read the books. He's kind of basically like one of his ancestors, Maegor the Cruel, if you will, and they do reference that in the episode. They don't actually say Maegor the Cruel, but they say like he's kind of acting like Maegor was. And then we see him introduced sitting on the Iron Throne, actually. Very, very bold, audacious move. So we get introduced to Daemon Targaryen sitting on the Iron Throne, and his niece, Princess Rhaenyra, comes in and kind of says something about it briefly. And that was our introduction to him. He is the city commander of the Gold Cloaks. The Gold Cloaks are like the city watch, the police of King's Landing, the police of the capital, if you will. And he just kind of wants to stretch their powers, to show everyone like what their powers are like before this tourney that's coming up. And it's pretty vicious. It's all kind of very quick, and it's all kind of dark, but there's a castration, someone loses a hand, then there's a beheading. It's very brutal right away, and yeah, that's honestly not the worst part of the episode. You'd think a castration, seeing a hand cut off and seeing a beheading would be like the most violent part of the episode, but basically like a forced birth, a forced C-section was the worst part of the episode. They're telling the king that the queen's in birth, the queen's giving labor. He shows up. The baby is breached, which, if you don't know what that means, the baby's basically upside down. He's not coming out head first, and without modern medicine or whatever, there's not too much they can do. But apparently, there's this like new procedure from the Citadel in Old Town, and so they tell the king about it, and the king's like, yes, like I know it's a son in the belly. I know it's not a daughter. I know it's a son. I know it's my future heir. I know it's the future heir to the Iron Throne in her belly. So we're gonna save the baby's life, not the mother's life. And they go ahead with a forced birth, like forced C-section, and that was pretty hard to watch. Like the king and the queen kind of talking together. Did not expect that at all. That was, in my opinion, worse than the beheading and losing a hand and the castration, which the castration was kind of off camera anyways. But so they perform the C-section. The baby only lives for a few hours and dies. And a very emotional scene. Princess Rhaenyra then essentially has to give the dragon command to the dragon to burn the funeral pyre with her mother and her little, who knows, like 5 hour old baby brother or whatever. So it was cool to see like one of Daenerys' ancestors, say Dracarys, in the first episode, but really emotional funeral scene and really brutal forced birth, forced C-section scene. Daemon Targaryen's like already like at a whorehouse, like talking shit about his brother's like dead wife and his brother's dead son, calling him like the heir for an hour or something, or the heir for a day or something. The king essentially finds out. Someone tells the king, and the king sends his little brother Daemon Targaryen back to his wife, back to the Vale, and he's not too happy about that. He doesn't want to be there, and he's essentially going to be plotting to go to war because the king has said, like, you, my brother, are not the future heir to the Iron Throne anymore. I'm going to make my daughter heir to the Iron Throne, something that's unheard of, something that's technically like against the laws that they wrote 100 years ago, that a woman should not rule or be heir to the Iron Throne. And that's where the season's going to go. That's where the series is going to go, is basically a civil war within the Targaryen family of who should be heir, who should be ruling the Iron Throne. And in the trailers and the previews in the future episodes, we are going to see like Princess Rhaenyra like grown up. You already see the actress playing the grown up version of Rhaenyra on screen, and just really excited for this. It's a big time production, big quality network behind it, HBO, and you do see kind of people taking sides already here. The lords pledging their allegiance essentially to King Viserys and his new heir, Princess Rhaenyra. You hear Lord Stark, Lord Baratheon pledging their allegiance, and we see the cat's paw dagger, which was cool. If you don't know what the cat's paw dagger is in the show, we saw it in season 1 of Game of Thrones, and then a few other times, and then it was the tiny little blade that Arya Stark used to kill the Night King in the final season of Game of Thrones. So that's really cool. And if you watch in the weeks to come kind of trailers that HBO's dropping, you see it over and over again. So really cool to see that blade. It's a really popular blade in the Game of Thrones lore, in the Westeros lore. And check it out, 10 episodes. So this is basically going to go into October. I think the very last episode, the 10th episode of the season finale is going to air October 23rd, I think. Check your calendars, but real excited. I think it's going to get even crazier with like dragon fires and the battles and everything, so stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching Future Dragon Rocket. Subscribe down below, share on social media. See you next time.